What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murphy, and this is the best of BGG.
Woo!
That's right, this is the best of BGG, where we talk about the hottest games of the month, some cool stuff that we've seen, our personal favorite games of the month.
Ooh, yeah.
Mikey, should we get in the news?
Let's do it. If you have folks that you're hoping to get games for, or maybe games for yourself, and you don't quite know where to go, check out the BGG Holiday Gift Guide. There is a whole list of games brought into different categories, heavy games, lighter games, starters, and things like that, to kind of help you get information about some games that are maybe available and things that are interesting to try. And many of the selections also come with a if you like this, try that kind of thing. So it's something that we put together, super duper fun. You can go through the list, get some ideas for games. There's a wide variety of stuff. So I definitely implore you to check out the Holiday Gift Guide right there at the top of the BGG page.
I'm not in different clothes, you're in different clothes. The next bit of news is BGG is running their end of the year support drive, where you can support BGG if you want to by giving a monetary donation. BGG is a huge resource, and it's free to just use. You can go here and find out basically anything about any game. We always say it's like the IMDb but for board games. There are hundreds of thousands of entries and all this cool stuff, forums everywhere. It's really, really cool. So if you like BGG like we do, consider supporting. Give me like $1, $2, $3, $4, whatever you got. You know,
$4,000.
like Mike said right there. And so it would just be really cool. So they have the support drive going on right now. Make sure to support if you like BGG, just like we do. We have supported, we'll say that. And
micro badges, what?
Thanks, Mike. And yeah, BGG is awesome, and I think you should support them. All right, so that was some Board Game Geek news. Let's get down to the table and talk about the hottest games of the month.
It's that time.
All right, we're talking about the hottest games of the month.
To bring the heat to the list that is the list in this video.
All right, so number 10 is a game that we saw at BGG Con. This was Djinn.
Yes, indeed. This was in like the
hot games room
and stuff.
Did not get a chance to play it, unfortunately.
No, yeah, but it's interesting. It's like you're kind of going around ghost busting and trying to like literally get bottles and corks to like catch these Djinn and
yeah, there are these different locations, and you have like 13 different locations you can go around, but I think from each location you only have a certain amount of places.
It's like two or three other ones. You have to kind of like plan your route.
Yeah, you kind of have to plan your route. You're trying to capture these Djinn. There's like boss Djinn and stuff like that. And yeah, you're kind of ghost busting. You get like magical like abilities and stuff that you're trying to get other mages to go with you, which I think will make it easier. It's Pegasus Spiele. It's kind of beige. I'm kind of into it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it seems like a game that would be really fun to try, and I just appreciate the kind of funness of the theme. You know, you're going against these entities and stuff. You need to kind of power up to go for it. They're obviously very powerful creatures.
And we know some people who played, and they all said it was like, yeah, it was good. And so like I'm excited to try it. I like Pegasus Spiele games. We're big kind of Euro gamers, as many of you know. And so like, yeah, Djinn just kind of looks like up our alley. Kind of cool theme, and yeah, heard it's pretty good, so want to try it. That's gonna be number 10 is Djinn. Let's get number 9.
Number 9 is a perennial hotness contender. This is on here Arc Nova.
Most months, yeah. Now, although the expansion is finally in people's hands.
Yeah, that's really powering it up for a lot of people. We recently played Arc Nova again because we got the expansion and stuff, and so it's always a highly played game as well. Being on Board Game Arena, the accessibility, access to the game, I should say, is at an all-time high. So with the Marine Worlds expansion, adding new types of animals, kind of cycling more cards, you can draft out action, like unique actions that only you have and stuff, bonuses for your, like when you build and things, super duper cool things that we've actually personally really enjoyed.
Yeah, really.
And Arc Nova doesn't need anything to be on the hotness, but it helps when there's new content for the game.
It sure does. Anytime there's a new expansion, it's gonna be all over the hotness, and so it'll probably be here for a while, as it usually is anyway. But yeah, Arc Nova is really fun. I really like the new expansion. I think it's good, and it's getting in people's hands. I'm happy because a lot of times, like the original Arc Nova came out at Essen, but it didn't get to the United States until like February the next year. So they got that expansion out basically right away, which is very cool. So Arc Nova's here. It's probably gonna be here for a little while. Arc Nova's great. It's number 9. Let's get number 8. Number 8, we played about a year ago
almost
today
exactly a year
or
ago,
so, and then we played again recently the other day. This is Heat Pedal to the Metal.
Yeah, absolutely. We played it at PAX Unplugged last year, and it had been out at Essen, and so there was a few copies going around and things like that. So we played a copy from the library there.
Yeah.
And we didn't end up picking it up at PAX, and then it ended up being quite hard to kind of track down otherwise. We ordered it pre-order and then got our copy just a few weeks ago and finally got a chance to play it again. It's a really fun racing game.
Really fun.
Game night, of course, has a playthrough on it. You should all check out. It's a card management game where you are, playing out your cards and trying to manage your speed on those straightaways. You want to blast it and stuff, but whatever gear you're in dictates how many cards from your hand you have to play.
Yeah.
And I love that idea that like you can go in to a turn in third gear because you might have cards that have like 0 or 1 or 2, meaning how many spaces you move forward. So you can actually stay in a high gear if you play your cards right.
You sure can, yeah.
During those turns, but you can also risk spinning out, but you also have the economy of the heat that's in your engine that can help you kind of power through turns and stuff. So how do you manage that? It's just some really great hand management stuff in this one.
It really is. We had played it once, liked it, and then it had been a while, so we were kind of like, did I like it as much as I thought I liked it? Kind of the thing where you start convincing yourself you didn't like something.
We also played some things very wrong.
Yes, we did.
The first time, and when we played it this time,
oh, that's better.
Everything that we disliked about the game was cleared up. We're like, well, that makes sense. And
it's really
good.
Is
better.
It's really, really good. We still haven't played with like any of the modules or any of the like campaign stuff, so I'm really excited to get more into that. But I really like Heat. I think it's really good. It's number 8. Let's go ahead and get number 7. Number 7's been on for a couple months now. This is the White Castle. Devir stuff always is popular. People really like Devir, so do we.
Yep.
And
this is also in the hot games room at BGG Con. Yep.
The White Castle is kind of the new game in like the Red Cathedral line. It's kind of got just a similar look, a similar weight of game.
Dice drafting.
Dice drafting. And you're drafting out these dice and you're putting them down onto the board and then you're taking actions depending. Each area will have certain actions will be assigned to a color. So if you put that color of dice there, you get to take those actions. But this game is all about trying to combo, wombo, chain stuff together because you only have 9 turns in the entire game.
It's rough.
You get 3 turns around, there's 3 rounds, that's it. And so a lot of times when you do an action, it'll give you a bonus that you can do that allows you to do another action. And so you're trying to do as much as humanly possible in these 9 turns. And you can actually get a lot done, but it is tough and it's a really fun puzzle. I think it's great.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy this one. You can get a game of it in, especially like a 2-player count, a slower player count game in like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes. Like
we played like 45 minutes. It's quick.
It's quick, and I love that. You get so much of that kind of bigger game experience with a game that doesn't take up too much space on your table, doesn't take up too much of your day, but it's so satisfying as if you'd played this like massive, sprawling, 3-hour Euro game. So it's just one that we've really enjoyed. And it's like one of those games that every time I play it, I'm like, let's just shuffle up and do that again. Let's play it again right now.
Yeah.
And that's always such a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not you actually do that, it's like, that's what you want from a game. So
yeah, it doesn't hurt.
It's got some it's very pleasing to play.
It's good, and it seems to be a lot of people are really enjoying it, which is why for the last couple months it's been on the hotness. People were really talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Really enjoying it. That's the White Castle, number 7. Let's get number 6. Number 6 is a Mindclash game called Voidfall. We actually just played
tiny little
game. We actually just played a different Mindclash game, Septima, which is kind of always around the top 10 of the hotness recently. But Mindclash made Voidfall, and this is a big 4X, but ultimately a Euro game from everything that we can tell from it. There's you're getting technologies. You have each one of you is a great house. Each great house is different. Has like tracks that you're bumping up, but all of them are different.
Right.
You're doing 4X stuff, and then you can play this game also solo, co-op, and competitive.
Yes.
Which is like there's more and more of these games that do kind of like all of this, and I'm just like, it's so much stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I think it is more aimed at Euro gamers because I can't remember the term right now, but like when you go into battles and things. Like if you bring
there's like no luck.
Yeah, if you bring in like X amount of stuff, you're going to win. There's not like an ultimate dice roll and someone wins out of luck. It's like no, like if you go in with the right stuff, you'll be rewarded.
That's kind of one of the pitches for the game. They're like, there's no luck combat. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like I get that. There's sometimes fun where you're rolling dice, but sometimes it can be really frustrating when a tiny little ship blows up your giant ship because you just rolled a bunch of ones.
And the X-Wing took out the Death Star. I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying, right? So Voidfall is cool. It's got Eno Tool art, so it looks so darn good. Oh, yeah. Eno Tool is just a master. I don't know how he must not sleep.
Mustn't
sleep.
When could you?
Oh my gosh, wild.
He does masterful work. Yeah, we have a friend who has Voidfall. I really can't wait to try it because with that group we play Eclipse from time to time and stuff. So I'm excited to delve into one and stuff that does go a little more Euro because as Euro gamers, they speak in our language. So I'm really excited, but with a really cool theming and everything as well. Seems really neat.
All right, that's number 6. Voidfall. Let's get number 5.
Number 5 has been around the hotness for a little while. This is the newest board and dice game, Nucleum.
Yeah, this was one of the more popular games at Essen. It has been plastered on the hotness basically the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around. It's been you know, it's got that good mix of like designers that you know with a really great track record.
Yep.
You know, a cool look, interesting decisions. Ultimately, like one thing that we found when we played it, it's like pretty smooth turns.
Yeah.
Like the actions themselves, with a lot of these games, it kind of it comes down to like the actions are not complicated.
No.
What you're, you know, how do you be efficient? How do you maximize? How do you use your time? That's where the heavy brain work comes in, that strategy. But I love the turns are actually pretty smooth a lot of the time. And it just makes it for just like a really satisfying kind of gameplay experience is what we've found on a couple plays, and you played it even once more recently, and I'm jealous because it's been a little bit for me.
It has been.
I really want to dive right back in.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. You are building up kind of an energy infrastructure with like nuclear power and some coal power, putting out buildings, and you need to energize those buildings so you actually get points for them at the end of the game. And kind of you're building out a network of stuff because you can play these action tiles either to your board or out onto the main board, but then you lose them, but you're also then building tracks out on the board. Lots of different stuff. It's really, really cool. I really like it. Again, an all-star cast for the designers. It's just really good. And people seem to be really enjoying it a lot. It was played a whole bunch at BGG Con. We were seeing it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really, really fun. We like it a lot. And that's Nucleum, number 5. Let's get number 4. Number 4, I think, had the biggest first day ever on Game Found.
Really?
This is Nemesis Retaliation.
Ooh, baby.
This is I think the third Nemesis?
Yes, I believe so, in the Nemesis line
Nemesis
of games.
like Lockout, and then this one, right?
So obviously very popular games across the board.
It's a big semi-co-op game.
Big
Kinda
semi-co-op
Alien
game.
inspired, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. So this is Nemesis Retaliation is set basically, if Nemesis is alien, it's not, right? Legally distinct. If that's alien, this is aliens, right?
Now
we're
like
the Marines.
You're like Marines.
We're showing up. We're running and gunning. We're mowing down.
This one is much more.
Intruders.
You've played it, so like it seems it's much more like you're much more powerful.
Yeah, you're much more able to, in the right circumstances,
waste
to
some
like,
aliens.
to waste some aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
If they get into a room with you, then it becomes a lot harder and stuff.
per
But
usual.
there's all these corridors and things. So yeah, now it's more about like that. You're kind of trying to secure rooms and corridors as you go through this. You don't see the board isn't set up ahead of time. It's kind of as you go, you start discovering certain rooms and things, which is really fun. But yeah, so it's like now you're a little more capable.
In a corridor, you can do a burst shot and shoot your gun with burst, and anything you hit, you just kill.
I mean, there's these big creatures in this tiny little tin can,
it's
so
pretty
it's
easy to like.
You don't really have to aim.
So like that's cool, but again, if they get in with you,
they get in a room, all of a sudden they have a lot more space to operate. Then you are at a disadvantage.
And it's like semi-co-op, so you can go for like the main mission that everyone can go for, but even when everyone has secret missions, they can choose to go for instead. And that can mess stuff up. So it's cool. I mean, Nemesis is very, very popular.
Oh, yeah.
It's already made an ungodly amount of money on GameFound. And this is the third one. Yeah.
But it seems like with each one they do, it gives you a lot of the familiarity, but changes things up. And this one feels quite different in that regard from the one play I've had of it so far. So yeah, really interesting stuff. Marining around, you each have your abilities and go blast some intruders. You know, not aliens, but creatures like that.
That's number 4. Let's get number 3. Number 3, shout out to Roy Cannaday, is Last Light.
Yes, another one we saw maybe more than anything at BGG Con being played. We saw a lot of Last Light.
That and the game we're talking about next.
Yes, a lot.
Are the two that we saw all over the place.
Very cool. So Last Light is a 4X game like a Voidfall and stuff. However, it's almost completely simultaneous play. And so you can play a big up to, if you have like the expansion, stuff, up to 8-player game in like an hour.
An hour and a half,
which is crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
And you've played this game before, so I'm like, how? But it's like because you're all doing stuff all the time, right?
Yeah, it's like whatever you're choosing to do, you're basically on this board with these like 3D planets, which is cool, and you're all in your different areas, and depending on what you chose to do that turn, you can just do it. Like if you're like, I'm gonna get resources from this planet or whatever, you can just do that. Like no one
very little relies on someone else.
Now granted, it's 4X, you can attack each other and get in each other's way, and then that stuff you will do in turn order, because then it will matter, like, oh, I'm gonna move here, attack here, da-da-da. But for the most part, you can do a lot of it in simultaneous, and the things that happen in turn order, you can then go bop, 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 okay, we're done, and then move on. And it's cool, and it's a 4X game. You can do the game I played it purely as a Euro gamer. I was like, I'm just gonna see what happens if I don't attack anyone, no one attacks me, and I won. I won just like farming crystals and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. So I liked it. It's got a really cool look. The whole board like rotates.
The marbly, planets and stuff on stands and stuff.
They're
just look
super
really
cool.
Neat. Yeah, the board rotates
and like
around.
Roy Cannaday is just like a super nice guy. We've known him for a number of years. We've
stoked
heard about
for
this
him.
game for like
long time ago we heard it.
so long now, and I'm so happy that it's out and about and people are really loving it. So Last Light's number 3. It's really cool, and yeah, it was everywhere at BGG Con. So big shout out to them. So that's number 3. Let's get number 2. Number 2 might have been around more.
This is Apiary.
Yeah.
So of course Stonemaier Games always makes a splash, and there was a local to Dallas game store, Common Ground Games, which we went to in the spring. Great store.
Yes.
They are really on top of their stuff. So they had a bunch of copies of
They had a booth there. Yeah,
Nucleum, Apiary, all sorts of like the hot stuff for sale. And I think people were making use of that. I almost bought it myself.
because it was in the hot games room, but then a lot of people could then just buy it, and so it was kind of everywhere.
Yeah, which was fantastic. So this was getting played a lot. This is the Space Bees game from Stonemaier, where you are a colony of bees who are now out in space exploring the lands,
Sentient
different
bees,
planets and stuff, sentient bees, and doing things, building out your ship. Really is what a lot of it comes around to, which is you're kind of floating through space hive. We played this game while at BGG Con, and I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. It's a worker placement game where you have workers that are, have 4 sides to them, your little bees, 1 through 4, and that is representing their strength. And a lot of actions will be predicated on like the strength of your worker, and sometimes your worker and another bee that's there, whether or not they're your own, being there. And rather than ever having spaces be locked out, you can just bump other players or your own out of that spot, but that bee gets to essentially level up and become stronger as a result. So it has this great positive interaction where if you bump me out, well, I get something great out of that. And I get my bee back. So I now have, it's actually great for me if I get bumped, unless I wanted them there to then use the action again. So you're never really stuck in the game in any way. And you are getting tiles to put into your little spaceship, your space hive, that will give you extra storage spaces and production, technologies that give you discounts and, game-breaking rules and stuff like that. And then these end-game scoring tiles. So just kind of just doing a bunch of exploration. It's really smooth. Fun game. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it. It was really solid. It was really good, really solid. I want to play it some more, really explore it some more. It was cool. Stonemaier does good stuff generally, and they've been knocking it out of the park per usual. And so yeah, it's really good. And it was all over the place at BGG Con, getting in people's hands. That is Apiary number 2. Let's talk about number 1. Number 1 is a new fancy deluxe version, which is why it's number 1. And this is Food Chain Magnate. The deluxe version was announced a while ago, so I didn't realize that the campaign hadn't started. It finally just started.
Yes, right.
And now people are now backing it and stuff like that. This is a deluxe version of Food Chain Magnate. As far as I know, the gameplay is all exactly the same. Yep. There's also like the ketchup expansion, but it's got some Kwanchai Moria art. There are like 3D pieces for like the houses.
The buildings and houses and
all this kind of stuff like that.
Billboards,
It's just a nicer looking version. Splatter games are not always the prettiest games on the planet. Although I would say for a Splatter game, Food Chain Magnate is one of the better looking ones. Yeah. And then so now they kind of keep that old school kind of look to it, which I think is actually a positive of the old Food Chain Magnate.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then
kind of 50s, 60s.
Makes other stuff look better, and then has some cool 3D pieces. So people are talking about this game a lot. Food Chain Magnate's been a very popular game for a long time.
Yeah, so this is a team that the Lucky Duck is doing with
Splatter, yes.
And it's a limited time, like
I'm guessing
only during this this campaign can you get this version of it, because the Splatter version will continue to exist on their own, of course. So yeah, this is one that's like, that we've seen other games do this, where it's like if you like this game and want that deluxeified version, or
Castle
you never owned the
Burning
game. So it's kind of following that line of bigger and badder versions without changing the gameplay. So that's Food Chain Magnate. This is the Lucky Duck version we're talking about, or what's propelling it to kind
and
of
people are
new interest.
talking about it. They're out there talking about clicking on it. That's why it's at the top of the hotness, because people are interested. Whether they're interested in a good way or a bad way, they're clicking on it and interested in it.
That's what gets it up in the hotness, man.
So that is the 10 hottest games of the month. Stuff is all around the hotness. But the last thing we always do is talk about the 10 most played games of the month. So you can log your plays on BGG. Make sure to do so, because you can manipulate this list. And this list is kind of interesting because there's a lot of like interesting stuff there. Number 10 is actually Ticket to Ride Legacy Legends of the West, which has 4,744 plays.
I almost pulled the trigger. I saw it, and we didn't have space to bring it home. I was like, it was at BGG Con. I was like, I do want it.
But I'll say this one is only out of 1,100 players. So it's a lot of people playing this game a bunch.
Makes sense because I don't think a ton of folks have it yet, but I think a lot of people are playing it at like 4 or 5 players.
Yeah.
So,
pretty wild.
That's
pretty wild.
crazy. Yeah. Next is the White Castle.
Which is
Again, we saw
surprising.
this pop in the hotness. I think a lot more people are getting their hands on it now.
Yeah.
It's just out there. That's at 5,276 plays.
Indeed. Then there's Cascadia, which is 5,775 plays.
Great game. Heat Pels the Metal, which you talked about earlier, at 6,303 plays.
That just hit BGA recently, right?
Yep, I played a game of it on there.
It's very
yes,
good.
Sir.
Sky Team, which is also on BGA. I'm happy to see this one getting played because it's amazing. It's 6,762.
We got Sea Salt and Paper, just had an expansion drop out. It's 6767. Look at that.
Ooh, look at that. We have Azul, which is a pretty good staple here, which has 6,866 plays.
Now we're getting into the classics. We got Marvel Champions, always around, at 7,013.
And then the 3, 2, 1 is pretty much always the same. Wingspan, which has 7,195 plays.
And with, again, that power from the new expansion, Arc Nova, which is always number 1, has 5,000 more plays than that at 12,291 plays, which is so many.
It's wild. Every month, Arc Nova recently has been number 1 by like 5,000 plays. It's been
impressive.
Nuts, the difference. Yeah, Arc Nova is getting played, y'all. It is very much getting played.
Very much.
So that is the hottest games of the month, most played games of the month. Let's go back and talk about some Murph picks, some things we saw that were cool.
So a bit of a milestone happened, and for my Murph pick, I'm choosing Game Night's 500th episode, which is a lot. So many episodes of Game Night. I cannot believe it. What an achievement. Super cool. They could not have chosen a better game for the 500th. They chose Green Team Wins. Super fun game. Always creates hilarious discussions, and you have all of your favorites there to kind of go through and talk about and hopefully try to stay on the green team. So this is just a big shouts out. Congrats to everybody, all the regulars, anyone that's ever been on Game Night. What an achievement. What a long-standing gold standard for like board game playthrough videos that all of us have tried to learn from and emulate. And Game Night has just done it really well for many, many years. To get to 500 episodes, you got to have been doing this for a long time. So do check that episode out. Go back and watch the catalog, some of the older videos and stuff. Game Night has just always been really rad. Big shouts out to everyone there at Game Night.
My Murph pick is going to be a review by Hal Marsta, the user Hal Marsta, who is a climate scientist. And they did a climate scientist's review of Daybreak, which is a new game about the climate crisis and trying to solve it, trying to do as good as you can. It's a cooperative game by Matt Leacock. It's really, really cool looking. It's got a beautiful look to it. And I thought that this review was so freaking cool because it was about the climate part of it. It was about like how it goes about, how the game goes about climate, stuff that's like done really, really well, stuff that maybe it doesn't make all that much sense. And I just thought it was such an interesting look at a review where they were reviewing the game, being like, yeah, the game's cool, but like these are the things that are cool about it because these are real things that climate scientists are doing. I just thought it was one of the coolest reviews I've ever seen on BGG, and I really think you should give the whole thing a read. It's absolutely awesome, and I really hope this becomes more of a thing, is like people doing reviews of games that are based in a profession, or at least something they know a lot about, right? Something that they're an expert in. I think it's absolutely amazing. Please read through this review. I think it's awesome. I absolutely love it. I'm not the only one. It's gotten a ton of positive reviews because it should. It's awesome. So Hal Marsta, great review.
All right, so those are a couple of Murph picks from us. Now we are going to go into our outro, which always includes what's your favorite thing you played this month, Nick?
Personal favorite game. I'm going to go ahead and say Heaven and Ale. We played this at BGG Con, which was super, super fun. And we played Heaven and Ale a long time ago, like right when it first came out, and it was a bit too heavy for us. This game is very, very tight, where you
Still is difficult.
You're putting out these resources to make beer and stuff like that, but you're putting them on either like the shady side of your board or the sunny side of your board. Sunny stuff will produce a lot more, but costs a lot more money to put there, literally double the money. And so it's this tight resource game where you're like, oh, do I have the money to put it over here? Am I willing to spend the money to put over here? And it's really, really fun. When we first played it, we both, particularly me, were kind of like, I don't think I like this. It was too much, it was too hard.
I enjoyed what we did, but I was like, so freaked out.
And recently, the last couple of years, I've been like, I want to try it again because I feel like I could handle it a lot more, and I feel like I'd like it a lot more now. Turns out, I do.
Yeah. It's real good. I agree. That's such a good pick.
It's really good.
For me, my pick's going to be Forest Shuffle.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We picked up a copy of this at BGG Con. Nice little card game. We'd heard a lot about it from Thinker Themer on how much they enjoy. It's also on Board Game Arena. Works very well over there.
Yeah.
This is a game where you are kind of managing an ecosystem that's all based around trees in the forest. So you need to play out trees, and as you have a tree down in front of you, it produces 4 sides of that card, which you can slot in animals, insects, plant life, and things like that.
Butterflies.
Around all 4 sides of that card. You can have multiple trees, and everything has different scoring conditions and stuff. So you are just trying to create combinations. Certain things are kind of set collection elements. Certain things are like this many points for every deer you have. All sorts of stuff like that. There really is a lot of opportunity to get points, and I love just trying to hit a certain combo or synergy and just like ride that thing real hard. It's really fun each time. And as you pay for these cards, you have to discard cards from your hand. So you pay with cards out to a clearing, which other people, or maybe yourself, could draw cards from. So you don't want to inadvertently like hand over a card to the clearing and the person's like, great, that card right there is 10 points minimum for me. Appreciate that. So you're trying to pay attention to what other people are doing, but it's a quick little card game. I love Forest Shuffle a lot.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Really
enjoyable. It's way up there for me too. Forest Shuffle's a banger. Down in the comments below, let us know what your favorite game of the month was. It was a good month of gaming for us personally, and so it was just a good time. And that's going to be it for us, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for another Best of BGG. I am Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and we will see you later. Have a good one.